Okay. Aiden,
All
you let me know
right.
when we're good to go.
Yeah, we're good to go. That's us live now.
Cool. Great. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome into the Halo PSA Squared Up webinar. If you joined us for the last Halo webinar, then in November, then welcome back. If you're new, then welcome in. We have 200 plus folks who have registered for the webinar today, which speaks levels to the partnership that Halo and Squared Up has established. I'm your host, Mike. I'll move into the agenda here. Cool. So quickly going over the agenda, we'll do welcomes, we'll do some housekeeping, we'll chat through Halo's PSA for MSPs. We will go through the Squared Up and Halo PSA demos. We've got Brian DeKind from DeKind Computer Consultants joining us. We'll do a quick overview of Squared Up the company, and we'll chat about next steps, and we will go over Q&A if we have time at the end. Cool. So some housekeeping. We are recording this, so we will send out a recording of this webinar once we are done. The chat is available, so if you have questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to write those questions in. We will be answering the questions live as we can, and if we have time at the end, as mentioned, we will address those at the end of the call. Cool. So quick intros for everybody on the webinar today. So I'm Mike. I'm the Americas Sales Manager at SquaredUp. We have Dan Watts, one of our DevRel engineers at SquaredUp. We have Aiden Kelly, Product Manager at HaloPSA. And we have Brian DeKind, President of DeKind Computer Consultants, who is a happy HaloPSA and SquaredUp customer. And he will be talking through his experience of combining both the platforms and the power that he's experienced of that integration. Cool. So, Ian, I'll pass it over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mike, for the introduction. And thanks everyone for joining us today. As Mike said, some great attendance there. We've got about 68 in the meeting at the moment. So let's talk a bit about Halo. I'm sure many of you already have heard of Halo, but if you haven't, then this is your chance to learn a quick bit about what we do. So if you want to just switch over to the next slide there, Mike.
Yep.
Thank you. So Halo is a software platform, of course, and we cater to everyone really in the market, anything from enterprise, MSPs, ITSM for internal IT, and then Halo CRM for your sort of business to consumer use cases. So we really do all of it now, and we're sort of marketing ourselves as Halo because we don't want to say we just do for MSPs or enterprise. It's everyone, right? And we have specialized teams in place for each core offering that we offer. Actually, our business has been around for around 30 years now, well before I was even born. So we sort of got that in-depth functionality in the platform along with this new fresh UI, which we actually done a complete overhaul of the UI back in the start of 2025. Our founder is still the active CEO as well, and also it's a completely privately owned business. We signed on a 10-year commitment to not sell the business back in June of 2023. So that's quite exciting as well for, MSPs where there's a lot of mergers and acquisitions going on, concerns around where your software platform, your PSA is just going to be owned by. With Halo, you can be safe to assume that you're work with a privately owned business. We have a global presence as well. Just want to
Oh, sorry.
backslide there, Mike. Sorry. We have a global presence as well. So headquartered in the UK, we've got offices over in Melbourne, Australia. Then, funnily enough, in a place called Melbourne, Florida, as well. And then finally, another office in Bellingham, Washington, in the West Coast. We also have, many partnerships throughout the world. So if anyone on call is from like more of a European region or sort of APAC region, we really cater to everyone, and we can get the people in place to help you on board with our services. You want to go to the next slide, please, Mike? Thank you. And just to get sort of understanding of the platform, Halo is one product, charged at one price per month. So for the number of people you have on the system, you're charged for that one-time price. There is no upsell at all. Everything you see, you can get your hands on. Everything from service desk, projects, sales, marketing, um, and for other use cases, you can bring in like your finance teams, your HR teams. If you're sort of an internal IT business, um, working for an enterprise company. And we also offer 24/7 support. So as part of that one-time price, round the clock support. If you call in, if you email, you'll be given the support you require as a company. So thank you very much. That's all from me just now, I believe. I'll hand it back over. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Aidan. Well, I will do a quick overview of the power of connecting SquaredUp on top of HaloPSA. But for the most part, we'll have Dan doing a live demo. So I won't take up too much time. We'll get into the good stuff. Just wanted to give just a quick image of what we would expect if you added the HaloPSA plugin in SquaredUp. So this is kind of an example of an out-of-the-box experience you would get when it comes to, in this example, it would be HaloPSA tickets. And if I just go across to kind of just the capabilities of SquaredUp in general. So SquaredUp, for those who are brand new, is an operational intelligence platform. We offer kind of a single pane of glass platform that connects into all tools in your stack and then stream the data from those tools in real time into our dashboard UI. When it comes to Halo, we are connecting into Halo via API so that data that is streaming into the SquaredUp visualization is real time. We are kind of on a mission to ensure that MSPs stay proactive in their state of business rather than reactive and putting out fires in hopes to increase productivity and save money along the way and increase revenue. We have just hit our 100 plugin mark. Outside of HaloPSA, we do have kind of the typical MSP and DevOps stack plugins available. The dashboards that you create are shareable. So you can send read-only dashboards out to your end user clients so that they can consume and see their own data that you as an MSP are catering to them. If you have a need to put up operational data on a warboard or anything of that nature as well, it's just as easy as click of a button, and then you can share that out. So when it comes to Halo, specifically, some of the out-of-the-box data streams that you see within the platform is ticket data, assets, clients, invoices, quotes, usage for real-time usage, but also being able to provide data visualizations for things such as QBRs with your end user clients. So Dan, I will pass it over to you.
Cool. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Hi, everyone, again. So everyone on the webinar, give me a nod if that's showing up. Yep, we're getting some nods. That's great. Cool. So yeah, just going to launch into sort of a 10 to 15 minute demo of SquaredUp. So we're not going to go sort of too advanced, but we are going to sort of introduce it and sort of explain how it helps. So as you can see on the screen here, we're at first greeted with a dashboard. Dashboards really are sort of the core of what we do here at SquaredUp. As Mike said, we are an operational intelligence platform. What that kind of means is pulling all of the data wherever it lives into one place, and also being able to do those deeper dives into things like Halo data. Our general approach is, you really don't need to be a technical person to do this. Don't require any SQL knowledge. It's all very, very sort of UI driven. So first of all, this dashboard here is quite a general MSP one with a ton of different bits of MSP data. Most of this is coming from HaloPSA in this case. So we've got our tickets by priority, our customer SLA satisfaction, the amount of open tickets we have, but by status, and that does include sort of custom fields. As you can see, we've got like a Mahusive status here, so that's not built into Halo. We can bring in whatever you're doing in a more custom way with Halo. But we are able to sort of combine that with, financial data from Halo as well, asset data down here as well, in terms of sort of what. Oh, so apologies. Don't know why that opened. But as you can see, as I scroll across, you can sort of pull in your customers from Halo and associate them with whatever data is there without having to rely on the Halo report system. So we are able to sort of correlate that. As well as this, we're able to showcase things from your RMM tools. So if you're combining RMM tools of any variety, really, along with your Halo data, we have a lot of ways of either visualizing that on the same dashboard or even just combining that into one visualization, basically. So this is all powered by what we call data sources. So we refer to them also as plugins. As you can see on the left-hand side here, everything that is in this list is everything that is currently added to this particular workspace and dashboard. So one of these is Halo. So if I wanted to sort of go and add a new one, I can open up the Add Data Source menu, where I'm greeted with a ton of different options. Everything up here is everything that's already added to my organization. So if I want to, if I'm coming into SquaredUp, but I have a team member who's already added something, I don't have to re-add it. But if I am adding something from scratch, I can type in Halo. It will sort of scope it to ones that are already added and working. Alternatively, as well, we do have a Halo ITSM plugin. I know that's not the focus of today, but if you are a more enterprisey internal team, you can use that. But adding Halo is super easy. You can just click Halo. All we really require is the client ID, client secret. I will just for 30 seconds show how you get there. So you should be seeing Halo now. I can go into configuration. I go to integrations, HaloPSA API, view applications, and then adding a new Zoom's kind of in the way, so I can't really click on it. Oh, maybe I can do it. So adding a new application here is pretty easy. Just type in SquaredUp to nominate that it is SquaredUp. You just need to go to client ID secret. Don't worry, I won't be using this, so it won't work if you do try it at home. But this is pretty much what you need. You just need read permissions as well, so you can choose all here for your permissions, but all you really require are the read ones. So read tickets, read customers. As we aren't like a remediation tool, we're more of a operational intelligent sort of visualization tool. So once you've got this, you will have a client ID and secret. It just needs to be pasted in here. And we have a whole testing suite. So once this is added, it's really, really easy to go ahead and sort of start using this data in our sort of dashboards and features. When you do have Halo added, this is the kind of first thing you'll see. So once it loads, we do what's called an index. So we do a very light scan of what's in your Halo instance. In this case, we've got 509 clients. We've got 15 agents working on things like support tickets. And those guys are part of 8 different teams. These are summarized here that I can sort of drill down into. So as you can see, we've got a lot of demo data with random names, but I can drill down into specific clients if I want to. We are also presented with what data streams we have. So as Mike said on that slide earlier, we do give you some of these sort of out of the box that don't rely on the Halo report system, and they don't require any sort of SQL or technical knowledge. So these are things like tickets, quotes, invoices, etc. But you can fall back onto the Halo report system if you want to with our report data source, which I'll showcase in a minute. But right out of the box, we do give you a list of dashboards that you can get started with straight away with your own data. So for example, if I go to, let's go to the tickets KPI, that opens up in this drop down to nominate that it is an out of the box dashboard. Our demo data is slightly older, so I will put the time frame back. But right out of the box, you get something like this. Bear in mind, this is a demo instance, so this is not super real data, but you can sort of see the data we get. We give you things like a resolution rate or kill rate of tickets straight out the box. Get an overtime visualization right out of the box of your, tickets per day, and a bunch of other service desk metrics. So whether they're, what source they came from, what type. Again, this does include things like custom fields if you are importing these, and things like average resolution time and average time spent on tickets. So that's just one of our out-of-the-box dashboards. Out-of-the-box dashboards can be sort of got to with this drop down against any of our plugins. Everything up here in the top sort of left here is our custom dashboards that we've made in a custom way, and you can do really easily as well. Before I jump into that though, there are a few other things you can do out of the box. So if you wanted to get the same sort of data, our tickets KPI dashboard, but we want to scope it just to specific objects, in this case clients. This is what these sort of drop downs are for. So this client, these are a client scope dashboard. So what this means is we use our dashboard variable system, where we're presented with our list of customers. to scope this dashboard against. So this is great because if you're managing 509 clients like we have in this instance, you don't want to go ahead and make 509 dashboards necessarily. You can just scope it to that one customer you're interested in, or multiple customers. Again, our demo data is a little older. But rather than getting the global view, now we're presented with just the kill rate and the tickets per day of that one particular customer. I can do the same for things like agents. So again, we'll jump over to our tickets KPI dashboard for agents, but it will use our dashboard variable system, but it won't be scoped to specific clients now. It's now scoped to our agents. So I can go over and scope it to Mike. Hopefully Mike has a bit of data I can use. Again, I'll scope it back a little bit. And as you can see, rather than scoping it to on a per client basis, I'm now doing it on a per agent basis. And again, this is all completely out of the box. You saw how quick it would be to generate a client ID and secret in Halo and paste it in. This really takes sort of 2 minutes to do. And straight away, I can sort of go ahead and get a bit of an insight into what's going in my service desk. Same sort of thing can happen with things like invoices and quotes. So we do have those here. But yeah, if I jump down to some of the ones I've expanded on earlier, if I jump to like my general finance dashboard, we're now sort of stepping away from the service desk metrics and we're more leaning into sort of what's there in terms of finance management in HaloPSA. So we've got our list of tickets, list of invoices, list of quotes as well, again, including the custom statuses we have and the agents we have. I can drill down into this a bit more, so this can take me into the drill down either into SquaredUp or just show me what's in HaloPSA. So if I want to jump to a specific invoice in HaloPSA, I can just click on this and I can investigate further or do some actions. As well as this, we've got things like amounts, so gross amount spent, net amounts total, that kind of thing. That's all possible as well, again, without having to lean on the Halo report system, as good as it is. SLA metrics as well, so we can sort of see general SLA per customer. Again, this is not super real data. If I had minus 5,000 hours on a customer, that would not be great. But as you can see, it does pull that in, and you can get a deeper understanding as to what's going on. And things like what our technicians are doing over time. Again, this isn't super real data, but you can sort of see an overtime view of how many hours we're spending on projects for each of these agents from Halo. You can certainly use this to combine data as well. So if I wanted to do things like my M365 license usage, like for example, if I'm a MSP who's offering M365 licenses, but I also want to see where these licenses were going from Halo. So for example, we've got our recently sold ones from a Halo customer, and I can sort of see which licenses are here in terms of M365 licenses. Again, this is not super new data, but if I jump down to the M365 summary, you can sort of see the same sort of thing here with licenses and usage. So getting this data in is really easy. As you've seen, it doesn't take 2 minutes to sort of connect. But if I wanted to expand on this, it's also very easy. So like if I wanted to sort of jump to one of my out-of-the-box dashboards, and I want to sort of take ownership of this and add to it and get some new data, I certainly can. So I'll take the dashboard that it's given me. I'll click copy dashboard. This will then be put into my main dashboard list. This essentially now means I own it. So I can, I'll pin this time frame. So now I own this. I can do things like visually edit it. So I can edit this. I can sort of change how things are sized. I can make them bigger. I can move them around. I can even just remove them. But if I wanted to add some data, I can just go ahead and add the tile. It's going to give me some options to embed other products, add some text or images, so customer logos if I'm looking to white label this. But if I wanted to add some data, I just choose data, and that will open our data editor tool. So we're going to get presented with what data we want to pull in. So we're not locked down to one specific tool for a dashboard. We don't have to have just Halo data on this dashboard. But let's say I want to add some more Halo data, so I'll choose HaloPSA. I'm then presented with my data streams that you saw earlier. Everything that is available. Again, I don't have to touch the Halo report system or type any SQL out. So let's say if I wanted to just pull in some more ticket data here to my ticket dashboard, I can choose tickets. Straight away in the background, it's going to pull in those tickets for me. I can see it's worked. But if I hit next, it's going to ask me if I want to do some more parameters for this. So I can sort of visually in the UI change what I'm bringing in here. So let's say I just want to see everything closed, but only for my first, second line, and third line support teams. And I can go even further just for my specific clients. As you can see, it's pulled in all this data from Halo, so I don't have to sort of type this out and do some queries. I can, visually just accept it. So what I can also do as well, as you can sort of see in the background, we have our list of fields that we bring in. But let's say I'm doing something more custom, or I want to, bring in custom fields from Halo, or just something a bit more. I can choose to return some specific columns. So this is the default list of columns that's brought back. They're everything like pretty basic you might want to do for a tickets visualization, but as you can see, it also pulls in every other category that we have, basically. Even more custom stuff like whether we need new hardware. If I scroll down, there should be some more custom stuff like random things like implementation plans that are more custom, and even like things like tags. So if you're tagging specific tickets for certain things, you can sort of order the visualization that way. So if I do tags, I'm not sure everything will be tagged here, but if I click apply, that's going to customize the list of tickets back. And as you can see in the background, it's kind of scoped that down to just those closed tickets. Everything is now closed. Let's say I now want to sort of visualize this in a better way. So I can do some more filtering just in SquaredUp by doing my filtering. I can do, specific columns and make sure it equals or doesn't equal certain things. But I can just leave that blank if I want to. Let's say I want to, let's group the tickets by the agent, let's say. So we'll go into this UI sort of data editor. We'll group it by the agent. By default, it's just going to count those tickets by agent. And now I've got something a bit easier to use in terms of visualization. So I can now choose the visualization. It's now here. I can understand if, how many tickets each agent has that are closed in this case. So what I can do is go a bit further than this as well. I can turn on some monitoring if I want to be more proactive. You might not want to do this for ticket counts, but you might want to do this for things like SLAs, or if a person has too many tickets of a certain urgent status, for example, you might want to use this data to level that out across the team. So what I can do is turn on monitoring by going to the monitoring tab, turning this on, and I can choose, in this case, just to monitor the counts of tickets. So I say, if anyone's got more than 5 tickets, I could scope this just to urgent ones. I could certainly do that. As you can sort of see, it previews this, so I can see which tickets who has more than their maximum amount of tickets, or I can do a warning. So just warn me if anyone's got more than 2, let's say. That's going to sort of refresh and preview that for me. Once I hit save on here, that new visualization shows up on the dashboard. I can, again, in the UI, sort of change how this is visualized and appears. As you can sort of see as well, this is now ticking red because I turned that monitor on. So this is going to summarize why it's going red. It also rolls up the status to the dashboard. So the dashboard in the left-hand list here is now pinging red because it's obviously in breach of its monitor. And that rolls up to the workspace. So I'll touch on workspaces in a minute. But it's a good way of sort of managing different customers and different teams. If I scroll down now and go to my monitor section, I can see at a glance every monitor that I've set up in this particular workspace. Again, this is just allowing you to be a bit more proactive in terms of the tickets and your operations, or even if a certain customer is in breach of things like SLA, you can be proactive in rectifying that. I can then add notification rules, so I can sort of be proactively alerted in Slack, Teams, or even just to a custom webhook for any other tool here. So I can very easily be pinged based on what monitors I've set up here. I can also be specific with the trigger, so I can say all of the monitors, only selected ones, in terms of how I want to be pinged or what I want to be pinged for into Slack or Teams or email. So jumping back, there's a ton of other features to help you manage all of your customers or manage your general operations. One of those is workspaces that I mentioned a minute ago. So if I go to this drop down, you can see there's a bunch of these workspaces in the drop down. Typically MSPs, who are obviously quite a big use case of HaloPSA, will be using these workspaces on a per customer basis. The reason for this is because allows you to sort of keep the data separate between different customers. For example, if I were to click on the workspace now, I can get a summary of all the monitors that are here for a certain customer or team. We get a nice dependency map here as well of everything we set up in SquaredUp. And we have a bunch of options for things like tagging these workspaces and access control. So I can be really specific with who has access to these. So if you buy a SquaredUp license for your customer and you want to them to use this as almost like a base of operations as to what's going on with what you're managing for them via Halo, you can add them here as well. Once you do have this workspace system set up, I can jump over to my organization. Squid Inc. is our sort of demo organization, really. But as you can sort of see here, I can now get a overview of every area or every workspace that I have set up in SquaredUp. So typically, like I said, MSPs do this on a per customer basis. So you'd have one area here per customer, and at a glance, you can understand whether they're red, green, or amber. You can also see key KPIs that you nominate. So things like, again, could be HaloPSA tickets. If you're using an RM tool, it could be more like if an endpoint is down or up. So that's all quite critical. If I want to sort of, or I'm managing many customers with many workspaces, I can sort of order this view via tags. So if I just want to see my tier 1 customers or like people with just a certain level of SLA, I can boil this view down so I can get it in a more digestible format. So I can boil this down just to 5 workspaces. In this case, these are my tier 1 customers or tier 1 applications that I don't need to sort of see everything. I can just see what I'm concerned with. So jumping back, I'll jump back to the one dashboard one more time. So there are some more advanced features in terms of combining data. One of those is our SQL Analytics tool. So if I edit this, and I'll show you one I've done earlier, we've got one here. So we've now jumped into our data editor one more time. We've got SQL Analytics turned on here. What this means is I can now add in as many data sets as I want. So in this case, I'm adding stuff from Azure. I can then jump into dataset 2 and add something from AWS. This could be things like HaloPSA or a different tool, RMM tool that you're combining the data with. I can then do a SQL query to combine this data, or I can rely on our Smart Assist feature. So this will allow me to type in something via generative AI. So please combine these 2 cost data sets over time. So I've done this already, but you can sort of see how it works. It's very aware of what's in the data, and it's very aware of what's in your Halo in terms of tickets, invoices, quotes, anything that is in Halo. So yeah, I think it's got confused because it's already here basically. But as you can sort of see, it would just paste this query in because it's aware of what's here already. Once I hit execute, that is then combined. So these 2 data sets are combined into one SQL output that I can then visualize in the same way I did before. And then appear on a dashboard. I can monitor it in the same way I did before. So there's a lot of features to help you combine data, even if you're not very versed in SQL. It is very easy to sort of just rely on that generative AI feature to sort of do the heavy lifting for you. You don't have to rely on an engineer to write your SQL queries for you. Once I'm happy with this dashboard or the set of dashboards, there's a few extra features I can do to actually make use of this. So obviously I can go ahead and share it. There's a couple of ways of doing this. So we've got our workspace users. These are our interactive users where they can edit and add stuff to the dashboards or turn on monitoring, that kind of thing. Works very similar to how it was on the workspace. I can add specific people. I can change their level of control. So there's a lot of controls there. Or I can use the open access link sharing option. So this is a great way filtered this sharing link to anyone in my organization. I think my mic just turned off. Can someone nod if they can still hear me? Steve, can you still hear me? Yeah, cool, great. Sorry, Zoom was alerting me there. As you can see, I've filtered it just to the restricted email domains. What this means is I can put a customer's email domain in this in our settings, basically, so no one else can access it but them. But when I paste the link in, it looks like this. So I've got the same interactive dashboard. It still updates in real time every 60 seconds. And I can actually do a deeper dive into this data in a more interactive way. But as you can see, the sidebar has been removed and they can't actually edit this dashboard. This allows you to confidently share sets of dashboards with your customers to showcase things like on QBRs, or whether you just want to show them something that you've done or how good their SLA has been over the last month, for instance. You can use this sharing feature, and it allows you to sort of share a bit more openly with these dashboards without actually having to sort of buy them a license. You just have to have an allowance of shared dashboards left, basically. So jumping back, there are a sort of ton of other features along with all of our other data sets in terms of dependency mapping, other integrations as well. So obviously we can go a bit further than HaloPSA. You can also manage what you're using to sort of manage these tools in HaloPSA. So if you're combining, like I said before, M365, Azure, if you're doing that on behalf of customers as an MSP, you can combine that with Halo data very, very easily. And generally speaking, as I said before, the approach is you don't have to be an engineer, you don't have to be super versed in SQL to know what you're doing here. It's all very, very easy and UI driven. There are a ton of other features for scaling up as well. So I will just mention those. So we have a Terraform provider. So if you're thinking, how this looks great, but how can I scale this up to my 1,000 customers or something like that? If you are a user of infrastructure as code, like I said, we have a Terraform provider that you can use to deploy any element of SquaredUp. So workspace, dashboards, integrations. You can do that in a templated infrastructure as code way. We do also have an upcoming MCP server. So if you are using generative AI in your organization, things like Claude, ChatGPT, you can use our MCP server to interact with SquaredUp, whether just pulling data out and showing it in your generative AI responses, or you can actually use the MCP to control SquaredUp. So you can say, for example, I can build a level of template in SquaredUp just in the UI. And if I want to deploy that amongst my 1,000 customers, I can just ask our generative AI MCP server to do it. So that's really, really easy. If you're interested in stuff like that, feel free to book a call after. We can sort of do a deeper dive into your integration and how it might work with your customer base. But yeah, that's an overview of SquaredUp. Hope it was helpful, and thanks for sticking with me. At this point, I'll pass back to Mike.
Cool. Thanks, Dan. All right. See, the Q&A is lit up a little bit, so we'll be sure to address those along the way. Okay. Webinar team maybe wants to give me a nod here. Everything looks okay?
Yep.
Yeah. Perfect. Appreciate that, Dan. We will move right along to a very collaborative and an excellent customer that we've had with Brian DeKind, who has invested in both SquaredUp and HaloPSA and has experienced the power of combining both platforms. So, Brian, I'll pass it over to you and have you intro yourself and take us through your experience.
Perfect, Mike. Thank you. DeKind Computer Consultants, MSP based between Chicago and the Milwaukee markets. We focus on a strong on-site presence with our business clients. We're approaching our 25th year in business here, and we have a staff of about 35. So how did we get to where we're at here? We've been using several disjointed tools to track a number of things, from expenses to employee timesheets to billable time, client budgets, let alone tickets. And we had used Zendesk as our PSA for several years for client tickets. Our administrative burden was pretty high on a weekly and monthly basis, as we had clients, as you can imagine, requesting data from those several platforms, and requested that we merge them together, get some analytical data, and then our administrative staff was pulling it, gathering it, analyzing it, and sending it over to the clients, some of them on a weekly basis, and the majority on a monthly basis as well. So as we continued to grow, we started on a search, lasted a little over a year for a new PSA. During that time, we held several evaluations of the products that were out there, and we chose to move forward with Halo, ultimately going live in December of 2025. We found out pretty quickly that while Halo produced all of the data we wanted, we were looking for something in a more graphical format that we could present directly to clients. And that put us on a search where we discovered SquaredUp. So with that, if you can hit the next slide for me. So how we use SquaredUp today, in what we affectionately call the pit, our help desk staff area in the office, and where our field techs will base out of when they come into the office. We have a dashboard up on several TV screens that show our live statistics so that folks can see the priority of the moment, volumes, and so forth, and what the help desk is doing and focusing their attention on. So what we'll call our urgent or hot tickets will show that queue and their ticket status. Will show up a lot of backup and automation status reports for the last 24 hours as well. Machine health that we're pulling in from our RMM tool from Ninja. And then we'll show which clients are busy that day so that we can pick if there's anomalies, things going on that we need to address that we might not see otherwise. So clients with high volumes of requests too. With that, instead of manually gathering all of this data, we built individualized client dashboards where the client can go and view the data live on demand in a single pane of glass. So we're pulling data from not only Halo, but from Ninja and O365 as well, and displaying it in a very friendly, usable format that the client can work directly with without needing manual interaction from our staff. So they'll pull, for example, ticket status. They'll see a list of open tickets that when they click the ticket brings them directly into Halo. Billing status, hours, contractual obligations, things of that nature show resolution rates, again, up to the minute, and then they can pull historical over a time period. Busy days, busiest requesters to see if there's that particular user popping in a lot of tickets or what day of the week is busiest for them with their IT requests. We made it simple. As you saw earlier, we share the dashboard out with a link that utilizes SSO. So we've integrated that into each of the client environments to make it easy for them to sign in. And I think the biggest point here too is just the amount of time that we've been able to recapture with our administrative staff. So we had accounting folks manually gathering this data after we deployed SquaredUp. We've been able to recapture 48 hours of admin time on a monthly basis that's no longer tied up doing manual reports. So when we went live with SquaredUp, we reached out to their professional services team. I just want to highlight how super responsive they were to our needs. We had additional fields from Ninja, for example, that we wanted to pull in. They made it super easy to do. We had custom reports that we had built during our go live with Halo that were super simple to pull up into SquaredUp. During our initial call with the professional services folks, the conversation surrounded what our needs were going to be, whether we wanted to be trained on the platform or what I'll call as white glove service, where the professional services folks completed our requests. And obviously they're dealing with an MSP with technical people on our end, but we elected to have the SquaredUp team. We elected to hand them a punch list of initial requests, and we got very quick turnarounds. I can highlight here too that about maybe a month ago here, we had a client request for some pretty specific additional data into their dashboard that was unique to that client. We reached out to our contact at SquaredUp, and the client had that data in their dashboard that same business day. So it speaks volumes to the team and their responsiveness that we're working with there. And then what's next? So we're looking at additional integrations naturally, of course, as we continue to see the data and we want to know the why behind it. We're digging a little bit deeper, working on integration with our phone system to view live call volume data again to measure volume coming into and out of the help desk. Maturing the financial data for management reviews and kind of tweaking that to what we're accustomed to pulling manually. And then individual technician dashboards for KPIs on an individual employee basis to use for employee reviews. And with that, I believe I will turn it back over to Mike.
Okay, cool. That was awesome. Thanks, Brent. Thank you for that overview. Slides have gotten a little stuck here. We go. We'll just do a quick overview about SquaredUp, just a company as a whole. Actually, I want to start with the last bullet point here, kind of just our mission statement of sorts. SquaredUp was created to tackle a problem that is even more relevant today. Folks out there that are drowning in data, starved for information, getting that data into one place. Just a little background about the company. We were founded in 2011. We're privately owned. We are a B Corp company. We take a lot of pride in that. We've been ranked as a best place to work for medium organizations in development and in tech. We are proud ourselves on happy customer satisfaction ratings, and our company values of sorts is passion, integrity, and togetherness. Cool. So next steps for folks that have joined today, if you're interested in diving in and you've been inspired in what you've seen from all the folks on the panel here, it's as easy to get started as just signing up and connecting into our free tier. So we do have a free tier available. It does not expire. It doesn't go anywhere. It's free forever with the capabilities that are within that tier. So you can go on to the SquaredUp website and sign up for free, get started. From there, you'll have instructions to integrate any of our plugins. So the HaloPSA connection is very well documented. So you can connect there and start to get a feel for the out-of-the-box plugins. And if you want to connect with us, we would absolutely love to chat with you. You can book a demo right on the homepage, or feel free to contact us through the sales@squareup.com email, and we would be more than happy to spin up a conversation there. So Aidan, I think I'm passing it over to you quickly.
Yes, thanks, Mike. And thank you everyone for listening today. Just wanted to end up here by saying, if you are interested in Halo, if you've not heard of our platform before, you can reach out to our sales team, sales@halopsa.com, or if you just go onto our website, it's actually usehalo.com now, and you can sign up for a free 30-day trial. You'll have full access to the platform, everything from service desk, project, etc. You can even connect some of your integrations in to see how they will work for you. So fully free to use the trials. It's a great partnership between us and SquaredUp. Really excited about this one. And yeah, thanks everyone for listening today.
Perfect. Appreciate that, Aidan, and definitely echo your sentiment. Halo's been a great partner for us, so glad we could get this going. We're at the Q&A here. Dan, I don't know if we have time or if you've been chipping away.
Just chipping away a little bit. So I think there's 3 left. I see Sonia has put one in. Can you create dashboards for projects like a specific client onboarding? Yeah, so you certainly can. As you sort of saw, you can pull in custom fields for any data in Halo. So you can build that. It's not out of the box. It's not one of those out of the box dashboards. You can pull in your list of clients. We do that with our index that you saw at the start. Each one of those clients that we pull in will have a field basically for the onboarding stage. If it isn't there, then we can make sure your permissions are okay. But we have a couple of customers doing that already, and you can monitor things like what tickets they're raising, what stage they're at, how many assets they've received if you're doing that with Halo. So it is certainly possible. I'll hopefully that answers the question. What I would recommend is, for any of these questions really, is, as Mike said, we do have a free tier. Basically, it's not even really a trial, where you can add, I believe it's 2 or 3 integrations, Halo being one of them. So if you're unsure as to whether it will fit your particular niche or whether it will achieve something particular that you need it to do feel free to try it on that free tier. And if not, we can do feel free to reach out to us, as more than likely a lot of our existing Halo users might have already achieved a similar thing. Last couple ones are from Matthew. I can see more coming in actually. So I can see you're using Halo ITSM. Yeah, thanks. The dashboards, I do also. I agree, they do look pretty cool. So obviously, as you've rightly said, it can obtain data from multiple data sources. I'll just make sure I'm answering this live. The advantage of that is kind of speaks for itself in terms of how you can sort of combine the more relevant data from different sources. So if you're using an RM tool, you're just managing licenses in a Microsoft product, for example, or even doing things like managing backups for your clients. Just having all that data together on a dashboard speaks for itself. In terms of the main advantage, I think that's why a lot of people jump onto SquaredUp is, as you saw, getting data in is really easy and getting a visualization together is really easy when compared to some of the Halo reporting system. The Halo reporting system is fantastic for doing sort of deeper dives, building those reports. But we do hear that oftentimes you need to have an engineer or someone on hand who knows a little bit of SQL at least to achieve something. This kind of gets around that. You don't need to have just engineers building reports. You can have almost anyone. You can have even agents building their own sort of service desk reporting in dashboards. So there's a ton of advantages in terms of shareability as well, scale as well, in terms of building dashboards for each of your customers if you have many customers. And there's a lot of AI sort of assistance features that we have in SquaredUp. Like I mentioned, that MCP server, if you are using any AI tooling, then SquaredUp sits a lot more nicely into those existing tool sets that you might already be using. Like I said, if there's to go for a full list of benefits, it probably requires like a bit more an in-depth demo. So would recommend jumping on the free tier and reaching out to our team on that one. So I think I answered that one. So I'm just jumping through. Srinath, so yeah, can it be used with Halo's customer portal? Oh, I think Brian's typing. I'll leave that one to you, Brian. So Jason, yep. So that's right. We are pulling it for the API. Is there an interactive clicking to link back to Halo for alerting? So we have something in the roadmap for that, for remediation. And it has a bunch of tools that link with other tools such as Slack, which sort of opens some remediation up. We do have a couple customers doing it today with our monitoring system. So you saw our monitoring system does integrate with things like ServiceNow and Zapier, that kind of thing. If you're using any of those two tools, you can sort of directly hook in and use that for remediation to do things like close Halo tickets or do something and do an action in Halo. Alternatively, we can do a webhook, like I said, a custom webhook. So when something's triggered in SquaredUp by a threshold you set, you can have a webhook shoot out to basically whatever you want. So you can use this to close Halo tickets. You can use this to almost do any kind of remediation you want to, really. So it does require a little bit of setup, but it is possible. But yeah, most people just use it as a way of being alerted, but you can use that webhook to do some remediation, like I said. That was on this one. So M365 does require enterprise plan. Mark, if you're referring to the like the SquaredUp pricing levels, it doesn't. So you can actually integrate with M365 even on our free tier, which allows up to 2 or 3 integrations. That allows you to integrate with Halo plus M365 for free, pretty much just to try it out. So if that is what you're referring to, then it's certainly possible in SquaredUp. On the flip side as well, M365, if you're referring to the enterprise plan on those kind of things, obviously we we do a level of visualization on things like your enterprise licenses and your general enterprise features in M365. So you can get a more fully featured approach that way. But I think we have a couple of people using it with the M365 like personal plans as well. So I think you can log on and try that. But like I said, if you want to use M365 generally, you don't need our enterprise license. That's more for our features really. And generally speaking, any of our integrations actually don't really. There's no such thing as like an enterprise or a premium integration. Anything you saw in our library of plugins is available to you regardless of what plan you're on. So yeah, do feel free to jump on and try a bunch of stuff. Cool. So yeah, that's the list cleared. Like I said, if you have any more regarding Halo, do feel free to reach out to Aidan and those guys. But anything SquaredUp, do feel free to. I think we're sending on some details as to how to contact us as well. Thanks, Matthew. Thanks for your attendance. Thanks everyone for their attendance and the questions. That's great.
Cool. Thanks so much, Dan. Cool. Well, I appreciate everybody's time, and please do be in touch. And we hope to see you soon. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day now.
Thanks.